So as I was saying, he was a neurologist, and from what I know, at the time you didn't have to go back to school to become a psychiatrist. It was sort of almost linked to neurology, and he just became a psychiatrist. I mean, he started at the Verdun Protestant Hospital, which was psychiatry. Yes, but he was a neurologist. He was a pathologist at the, which was then called the Verdun Protestant Hospital, which is now the Douglas Hospital, which is the psychiatric hospital, one and two. And then he went to the Montreal Neurological Institute, which is very well known throughout the world.
This is Wilder Penfield.
This is Wilder Penfield, exactly. And then he became a psychiatrist. But I don't know how he did that, or how, what the process was, because he didn't go back to school or anything. So I don't,
You reckon, your father went to the University of Ottawa?
No, he worked in Ottawa from 52 to 55 as a psychiatrist. That was later. He taught at the University of Ottawa. Yes. He did all his studies in Germany and then in England. But no studies here.
No. I mean,
he taught. He taught at the University of Ottawa, right? Which was a French-speaking. It's a French-speaking university.
And a Catholic medicine.
Yes. Or was at the time. And he worked at the Ottawa General.
So where were the English-speaking Ottawans?
I don't know.
I don't think they're right.
Oh, maybe.
There was a Father Danese, Lorenzo Danese, who was setting up the medical faculty. And he, in Ottawa, it was a new medical faculty. And one of the letters says to the John Thompson, this is 1946, "You've been recommended to me by Dr. Howlett and Dr. Stern." And that's where I learned that there was a connection. Absolutely, it's a very...
Benedict Labra House,
yeah.
And it was run by Tony Walsh. And as a matter of fact, I have a biography of Tony Walsh here, which I could lend you if you would like. Or you could find out. Yes, I'll bring it down.
Look at it.
And there was also another place called Madonna House, which was up in Combermere, which is in Ontario, in the countryside. And that was also a place for, I'm not sure if it was psychiatrically ill people or homeless people. I don't remember exactly. I remember we went there one summer, and I cleaned chickens for hours to feed the people there. And my parents, again, were involved in that. And my mother also started a studio for intellectually handicapped people to do painting and bookbinding. But it never really worked out too well.
But she talks to, she writes to Dorothy Day about her idea of what's called a sanatorium.
Yes.
A sanatorium, which was a...
Yes, well, I think Combermere was, it was the Baroness de Hückel, who was a Russian, I guess she was a baroness, I don't know, she was anyway, she ran this place, and my parents went up there one summer, and we spent the summer there, our summer holidays in that area. So that was in Combermere, Ontario, and it was called, what did I say? Madonna. So it was Madonna House, and then there was Tony Walsh's Benedict Labra House that my parents were involved in, and then of course the Catholic worker, Dorothy. But they got the idea, I think, from the Catholic. And I remember Dorothy Day. I remember her coming here.
Yeah.
She was a lovely woman. Very. I was a child at the time, and I just felt that I was just as important as everybody else in the household, because she looked on people as all being equal, sort of thing. You know, it was. I liked her very much. Yeah. So the Benedict Labra House is still going, and I could get some information on that too if you would like. But it just reminded me of the things you were saying about Thompson. So that is a letter from Thompson.
Yes, it is. Actually, yes. The intro.
What is the date? Is there a date there or not?
At the same time.
They must have spoken about it a lot. They were in England. They came here in June of '39, I think. And she actually, as far as I remember, was baptized with me. And just after I was born, before my father was baptized. So he was baptized. I was born in August 40. So we were baptized, I guess, in September or something. And my father was, I think, baptized in 41. I should read his book again.
Wonderful book.
The Pillar of Fire. Yes. And so she was also a convert. So she was very interested in Catholicism, and I'm sure that's one of the things that attracted them to each other.
And I mean, it is just possible that they could have known John Thompson in Britain already, because he was in Britain.
In 39?
No, not that early. But he was at. He
had
a contact with Queen Square. See, John Thompson. Did they remain in touch with him?
No, I don't remember anything about him. I just saw that there were a couple of letters from Jacques Maritain, and I didn't take them out because I didn't know there was a connection. But I would think that my father perhaps continued, some kind of relationship, just a written, correspondence with Jacques Maritain.
Because Maritain taught at the Leeds. And I think, there's actually another person, Martin Buber.
I know the name. I don't know if he was a friend or correspondent. No, I don't think so. But there was another priest, and I can't remember his name, but that was later on. That was more in the 60s, or maybe even early 60s. Because my father worked for UNESCO for a couple of years. Yes. But that was also later. That must have been, could have even been the early 60s.
That would have been definitely later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he was going to Paris for that course.
He was going to Paris, and I remember him going to Italy for that. But, it's very sketchy, my memory. But if I look through the letters, I'm sure I'll find things about that as well.
And did your father take an interest in the work of Jung?
He was much more of a Freudian.
All right.
He was very definitely a Freudian, yes.
Yeah. Did he know Freud?
He has... he didn't know Freud, but he wrote to Freud and got an answer, a letter. But it's not here. I had it, and it was strange that I gave it to my daughter in Toronto as a graduation gift. She became a psychiatrist. But I do have upstairs a letter from C.S. Lewis, whom he visited once, and I have also an autograph of Richard Strauss. It has nothing to do with psychiatry or religion.
But the musical side.
But the musical side was extremely important.
And what sort of, so he moved into psychiatry, so he left the laboratory behind him?
He left the laboratory, he moved into psychiatry, and he worked at a place called Albert Prévost Institute in Montreal, which was a psychiatric hospital. He worked in Ottawa as a psychiatrist, and then when he came back to Montreal, he worked at St. Mary's Hospital, which is a Catholic public hospital. As a psychiatrist again. And he taught psychiatry at McGill and at the University of Ottawa. But I'm a little bit hazy about the switch from the neurology to the psychiatry.
Why did you?
Don't know. I'm sure it always fascinates. I'm sure that the intellectual aspect of it, the Freudian theories, the Freudian thought was very interesting to me. And And I'm sure that, the connection between the brain and the emotions and the psychiatric illnesses.
And did he have an area like that he specialized in?
I don't think so. He did analysis. But I don't know. That I don't know.
And what were his views on hospital treatment? Did he have a sense of?
It's very hard for me to know. As I said, I was a child when he was practicing. I got married very young, and had children and worked myself. So it was. Did you get it?
No.
I'm Magnus Singh. Was I don't know what kind of a doctor, and he was a very. He was a Catholic, very interesting Catholic. As a matter of fact, we rented a cottage in the country near the Staines, and the Staines, Dr. Magnus Singh, had a house, and he had a little barn or garage next to it, which was made into a chapel. And we went to Mass there every Sunday in this tiny little shack. And there was a priest from Brazil, I think, who used to come out and spend the summer and say Mass every Sunday. And but Howlett wasn't part of that. He was a Montreal friend.